Hello everyone, in today's video I will be reviewing this Bachmann's OO9 Double Farlie. I'm just going to zoom in on it a little because this model is pretty small. As you can see right here, I have the box for it. Just very quickly inside the box, you can see I've got locomotive's instructions, which are all bundled up nicely. They just show you some of the lubrication points, specs, including that this has an X18 pin decoder and a coreless motor, and that it's got all-wheel pickup, as you'd fully expect, since this has 8 driving wheels and no other wheels besides that. And then inside, there's just info on fitting a DCC decoder and other versions of the model. So I can put that away. We also have, inside the box, an accessories packet that includes some etched nameplates for the locomotive, which is very nice. I have not fitted those yet myself, but I'm thinking I might. I should probably get around to that soon, actually. So, let's move on to looking at the loco then. So, as you can see, the model here is extremely nice. This is definitely one of the more expensive models I own, and it's made by Bachmann, so it is pretty nice. So as you can see here, if I look at the front of the model, well, there is no front. This is it. So I'll just start off with a bit of history, actually. This is a double Farlie, and the double Farlies are basically double-ended locomotives that were built for use on the Festiniog Railway. And the reason that the Festiniog Railway built double-ended locomotives was because there was an increase in the need for amount of coaches pulled in passenger trains, slate trains, all that sort of stuff. And the small England and large England locomotives owned by the Festiniog were no longer able to deal with the workload. So these locomotives here were brought in, and they're basically an 040 locomotive, meaning that they have an 040 bogie here at the front and at the back, sort of like a Bobo diesel. So they basically had the pulling capacity of 2 locomotives. There were not many locomotives like this in real life, so this thing, like a lot of narrow gauge locomotives, is very unusual. So both ends of the model are basically the same. You can see up at the front here, or one of the fronts anyway, there is a smoke box door that's separately fitted, a big vacuum pipe fitted, or anyways, it looks big for the model because it's narrow gauge, obviously, so the loco is very small, and a lot of details like vacuum pipes look very big on it. You've got a separately fitted gold handrail around the smoke box, which is made of metal and looks very nice. On the side, you've got lots of lining, painted versions of the nameplates, which you can switch for the separately fitted ones if you want. These, I'm guessing, oiling pots or something. These little separately fitted grab brains here, which look very good. The coal load inside one box, and then a toolbox on the other side. This insanely complicated whistle arrangement here. I don't know how well this is going to show on camera. Right behind the dome, there are so many little valves and whistles there, it's not even funny, and they're all separately fitted, which is incredible. On the side of the cab, as you can see as well, the lining looks really good. Over on the other end, it's basically the same. The only difference I've noticed between the two ends is that this end here has a little pipe, like an extra little pipe tip that's fitted. Don't know what that's for. I don't really know enough about the prototype. If I show you the wheelbases, you'll see the valve gear is very fine. They've got standard OO9 couplings, and the little cylinder drain cocks fitted. And in my opinion, the best part, I don't know how well I'll be able to show you this, is the cab. There is a ton of detail in here. So you've got this lever here across the main body. You've got a lot of gauges and little valves and stuff on the back walls. Both ends are basically the same, but that is prototypical and it looks amazing. So yeah, overall, as you can see, this is a very nicely detailed model. I'm really glad I got it, and it was a great way to start with 009, since this was the first 009 locomotive I purchased, and as of right now, it's the only one, but hopefully I'll be able to change out soon. Anyways, let's get this over to the 009 layout, and I'll show you it running. Down on the track, the Double Farlie runs relatively smoothly at slow speeds. It can't do as slow of a crawl as a lot of other engines I own. However, on my 009 layout, I'm using a Bachmann controller, not my MRC Tech 7, and the MRC Tech 7 is a much higher end controller that can put out a lot better output. So I feel like it's a little bit unfair to compare the performance of this to some of my other locomotives I own in OO and HO scale. I don't own any other 009 or N-scale locomotives, so I can't really test to see that if other locomotives perform better than this using this tracking controller, so I really don't think it's fair for me to judge the thing too heavily on its slow speed. As you can see at the higher speeds though, it is a very smooth runner, and just as good as any 00 gauge models I own. And here it is running at much higher speeds, which as you can see it has no issue with, although this is probably much faster than the real engine would have ever ran. Here are a few shots of it running. Unfortunately, I don't own very much 009 scale rolling stock, just this little brake fan and passenger car, so I can't really do much of a load test for this model. It handles these two pieces of rolling stock completely fine, as you'd expect, as both of them have plastic wheels and aren't very heavy, as they're made by Pico, and in my opinion, from what I've seen so far, Pico's 009 scale stuff really isn't that good, and I've been much more impressed with the Bachmann Farlie, and overall on other reviews, I've heard much better about Bachmann's products. Here are a few more clips of this loco running. Overall, the Bachmann Double Farlie is a great little model, and a perfect way to get into 009 in my opinion. I don't really have any issues with this model as it looks great and runs well, and while I think the slow speed performance was the best, I'm not going to knock it down too much for that, given how little experience I've had with locos on this tracking controller. That's all for this video though, so thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a great day, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. Bye!